Hello friends, in this session we are going to see one of the important topic, that is average. Now average is important not only because the questions are asked based on average, but average is a tool. You use the concepts of average to solve different other questions as well. For example, the questions from data interpretation. Also, you require the knowledge of average to tackle the questions for mixtures and allegation. So that makes average again one of the very important and basic topics. So let's see the basics of the average, and then we'll see different type of questions they come under the average. So first of all, average is a very general concept. Even the people who are not related to the mathematics as a subject, they also use the term average quite often. For example, the average of a batsman, average of a bowler, average weight of a class, average rainfall for a city. So all these type of concepts we keep using in day-to-day life. So what is average and why that is a very important for us? Because that is a single number that tells you about the quality or it gives you a glimpse or an idea about the in case of cricket, it is about the goodness of the batsman, how good the batsman is. A single number, like average of a player is 50. So that one number tells you quality of the batsman, right? So that is why the average is going to be very important number and figure. So we need to understand what average is. So mathematically, we all know what average is, because in our school days also, we used to calculate average marks of us as the percentage. For example, if I ask you what is the average of these few numbers, say 23, 27, 35, 40, 45. If I ask you what is the average of these five numbers, so what we do for averages, or what is the formula that we use to calculate averages, sum of the observation divided by the number of observations. So here all we do is we calculate the sum of these five observations. So sum here is going to be 50 plus 40, 90, 90 plus 90, 180. So sum here is going to be, 90 plus 80, 170, 50 plus 40, 90, 90 plus 80, 170. The sum is going to be 170 divided by the number of observations, that is 5. So 170 by 5, the average is 34. And this is how we calculate the average, right? But this is the formula of the average. This is not the meaning or interpretation of the average. If you have to understand the topic completely, you have to understand the interpretation part as well. What is exactly average? So average is nothing but what we are doing here practically, if you see, is we are collecting five numbers together. That means it's as if there are five students, they are getting different number of chocolates with them. First student gets 23, another one gets 27, 35, 40, 45. They get to you the five chocolates. You merge all the chocolates and the total number of chocolates comes out to be 170. And you divide it with 5, means you divide those chocolates equally with those students, and everybody is going to get 34 chocolates. That is what the interpretation of average is. Average is the equal distribution. So when you equally distribute, how much everyone is going to get. Now, if this part or this aspect of the average, if you understand well, you can solve some of these questions with a little interesting practical approach rather than always going with the formula. So what you can think is, if the students are getting you these many chocolates, say as a distributor, I think that everybody can get 30 chocolates. So I tell them, rather than giving all the chocolates to me, keep 30 chocolates with you upfront. Because I think everybody will get 30 chocolates. Any random arbitrary number that you can pick, but pick such a number that easily can be calculated. So now the first student who has got only 23 chocolates, if he has to keep 30 with him, there will be the shortage of 7. So 23 minus 30, he has got 7 chocolates less. So there is a shortage of 7. 27 minus 30, he has got 3 chocolates less. 35 minus 30, he has got 5 chocolates less. 40 minus 30, sorry, 5 chocolates extra. 40 minus 30, he has got 10 chocolates extra. And 45 minus 30, he has got 15 chocolates extra. So overall, if you see that there are 7 and 3, 10 deficiency and 10 excess, these will cancel with each other. So what remains ultimately is these 5 and these 15 extra, that is 20 chocolates extra. So when you already distributed 30 chocolates to each, there are 20 chocolates left extra. Those extra, of course, you can't take home. You have to distribute again to the same 5 students so that everybody gets equal number of chocolates again. So 20 by 5, everybody is going to get 4 chocolates extra. So already you had given away 30 chocolates to each of those. Plus, if you are giving 4 chocolates extra, so everybody is going to have 34 chocolates, which is the average. So do we all the time have to think about this technique? Of course not. If you are giving the, or if you are targeting the exams like RBI Grade B or banking exams, you don't have to go too technical or too logical for these topics, because the questions are going to be plain, formula-based question. Only thing you should be good at is making the equation based on the situation and calculation part. You don't have to think, because if you think for every question like this, the short trick way, then in exam also you find it very tiresome. It might be time saving, but thinking is, again, it is going to take a lot of patience. And in exam, it is not all the time possible to think every question logically. So better if you can make equation, and if you can solve the equation, that also helps you. But if you're targeting good exams, challenging exams like CSAT, CAPF, then of course it's important that you think the logical part of it as well. Okay. Now this is the average that we have been seeing, but the questions asked are going to be little different. So we'll see the questions as well. So let's see some questions first. Now, first, one of the very basic question could be, what is the average of first 100 natural numbers? Now, for this question, one might think that first 100 natural numbers sum divided by the number of observations. You'll have to do the sum by number of observations, but no. Here, if the numbers are in arithmetic progression, like 1, 2, 3, the natural number starts with 1. So 1, 2, 3 up to 100. These are the first 100 natural numbers. If you have to calculate the average of these numbers, where the numbers are clearly in arithmetic progression. Arithmetic progression means the series where the difference between consecutive terms is equal. So everywhere if the difference is 1, 1, 1, the difference is same. So that type of series is called as arithmetic progression. And for that kind of series, you don't have to use the basic formula of average, that is sum divided by the number of observations. You can just say the average is going to be the average of extremes. For example, if I say what is the average of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? There are 5 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the average? So obviously the average is going to be the middle number, that is 3. If you do the sum 15 by 5, that is of course 3. But otherwise also, average is the central tendency. And if the numbers are in arithmetic progression, the central number is going to be the average. But if you can't figure out the central number, you can just check the average of the extremes. So what is the average of 1 and 5? 1 plus 5 upon 2, because there are only 2 numbers. So the average of 1 and 5 being 3. The average of entire series is 3. That means for the arithmetic progression, the average is going to be average of extremes. So similarly, you have to take the average of 1 and 100. So what is the average of 1 and 100? 1 plus 100 upon 2. 100 and 1 upon 2 if you do, that is 50.50. So the average here is going to be 50.50. Easy? Let's take one more example, a different kind of example. If I say average age of a family is 43 years. What is the average next year? What is the average next year? Now, one might wonder that number of members in the family are not given. How many members are there? So can we calculate this, or the data is insufficient? So please understand, friends, if the average is 43 years, that means if you consider the chocolate theory part of it, you can just say how much ever members are there. Everybody has got 43, 43, 43, 43 chocolates each. Because 43 is the average. Now, in the next year, everybody is going to grow with 1 year. It's not going to happen that somebody stays their present age, only few of them are going to grow. No, everybody is going to grow with exactly 1 year. That means in the next year, each member can have one chocolate extra, right? Because everybody now will have one extra chocolates. So irrespective of the number of members, you can just say in the next year, everybody will have 44 chocolates, because everybody will have one extra chocolates. So the average next year is going to be 44 years. Because everybody is going to get increased with one. So you can understand one point from here. If we again take one very basic example, I'll take just the three numbers, say 23, 27, and say 20. What is the average of these numbers? 23 plus 27 plus 20, 50 and 20. Okay, let's take this as another number. Let's take this 10 for the sake of easiness. So 50 plus 10, 60 by 3. The average currently is 20. The average currently is 20. If I increase all the numbers, say with 3, the numbers are going to become 26, 30, and 13. And now the average is going to be 39, 36, 23. So as you can see, the average also got increased with 3. So that tells us if we add, subtract, multiply, or divide all the observations by same number n. Like here, I've added everywhere 3. So average also got added by 3. If I say multiply everybody with 2, 23 into 2 is 46. 27 into 2 is 54. And 10 into 2 is 20. In that case, the average is going to be 40. The average will also get multiplied by 2. You can just check. The sum here is going to be 120. 120 by 3 is 40. So that means if you add, multiply, subtract, divide by n to all the observations, the average also going to get added, subtracted, multiplied, or divided by n. That means if you do the same action out of these to all the numbers, average also bears the same action. So irrespective of how many members are there in the family, if you observe, everybody if increased by 1, the average is also going to increase by 1. So the answer is going to be 44 years. So this is the important point everyone must know. Let's see a few questions now based on this. The average age of 15 girls and their teacher is 16. If the teacher says is excluded, the average reduces by 1. What is the teacher's age? Now, this is the question that you can solve with making equation, which is my favorite method, because if your basics are clear, you can put your brain onto auto drive mode in exams and solve the questions easily by making equations. But of course, for that practice is required, and the comfort in making equations is of course essential. Then only that auto mode thing will happen. If you have to think about how to make equation every time, then better you can solve this question with any short trick that if you know. So we'll discuss both of the methods. First with the equation. Average of 15 girls and their teacher, that means there are 16 people whose average is 16. So if I ask you what is going to be the sum, if 16 people have the average 16, what is the sum? So we know if average is sum of the observation upon number of the observation, sum is going to be average into number of the observations. So if 16 people are there whose average is 16, so sum is going to be 16 into 16. That is average into number of people. That is 256. Now if the teacher's age, say the teacher is X years old, if that you exclude that, so now the new sum is going to be 256 minus X. This is the new sum, or the sum of only 15 girls. So sum divided by the number of people now, because there are only 15 girls now. So number of girls are going to be 15. So new sum divided by the new number of people should give us the new average. That is, the average is reduced by 1. So if old average was 16, now the new average is reduced by 1 and became 50. So you know, average is sum divided by the number of observations. So 256 minus X upon 15 should be 15. That gets us X is equal to 31. But if you now think the chocolate theory way that we discussed, you can just understand that if there are 16 people currently whose average is 16, so you can say everybody is having 16 chocolates with them. All the 16 people, they are having 16 chocolates with them because the average is 16. So as long as you are the part of the group, you are the part of the average, you are equal to everybody else. But as you are excluded or you leave the group, you will take your own. Now, because the teacher going, the girls, remaining girls, they have to lose one chocolates each. So where that one chocolate is going, of course, teacher is going to take it with him. Because if teacher is living, he goes with his own age. So teacher takes his own 16 plus 1 from every of the remaining 15 girls. So that means the teacher is going to take with him 16 plus 15, total 31 chocolates, and hence his age is 31. So this is what I am trying to tell here. If you can solve it like this, it's really good. But in exams like this, it is not expected of you that you think or you solve it by logical approach. You can solve by making equations as well. You just have to be quick and accurate. Because mistake here also can happen. Here also sometimes say 2 people come, 3 people leave. Then every time you can't think about the chocolate theory, how much chocolate everybody is getting and how to distribute. Whereas if you can make equation, whatever the condition is, you are equally comfortable for all those situations. That is why basics should definitely be clear. And then only you can think about these short tricks and everything else. Don't get fascinated with these short tricks. The faculties, they tell it very, very conveniently, comfortably, because they have been doing the same thing since years. But if as a new student, fresher student, if you go in the exam hall and something different comes up, it might happen that you can't think about the chocolate theory way or any logical way for that. So please believe me for this. I have personal experience. I also, whenever now, even I go for any exam or if I'm giving a practice mock, then some new situation comes up. I can't think there because the time is running out, right? So I have to go to the normal approach, making equation and solve it. So this is for those who have done the same type of questions already with the short list, the chocolate theory. Okay. Of course, we'll see both the ways for all those possible questions, but your approach should be to have the basics clear. Let's see one more. The average of 5 numbers is 27. If a number is removed from set of 5 numbers, the average increased by 1. Find the removed number. So you know there are 5 numbers whose average is 27. That means the sum is going to be average into number of observations. That is 135. A number is removed. Say the number is x. So now out of 135 sum, if you remove x, this is the new sum. New sum divided by the new number of observations. Now, because out of 5 numbers, we removed one number, there are only 4 numbers. So this is the sum of 4 numbers. Sum divided by the number of observations should give you the new average. And new average, it says, is increased by 1. So if old average was 27, the new average is 28. So 135 minus x is 28 into 4, 112. X is going to be 23. That means the number that we remove is 23. If you solve by chocolate theory, you need to understand there are 5 numbers whose average is 27, means there are 5 students with 27 chocolates each. Now, out of this, one student goes, due to which everybody is going to get extra 1 because the average now increased by 1. So where that 1 chocolate coming from? He is going to give away because while going, he is going to take his own. So out of 27, if he gives away 1 chocolates to rest of the 4, he actually taking with him only 23 chocolates, which was the value of the removed number. I hope you got both the approaches. Let's see one more. In a factory of 40 laborers, if 2 laborers leave the job whose wages were 950 and 1050, the 2 new laborers join the factory, which results in the decrease in the average wage by rupees 25. And find the average salary of the newcomers. Now here, again, new type of question comes. Of course, we can use the chocolate theory, but if you have to think about it in the examination hall, the thinking process is going to take the time. If you can directly act, that is always better. So first, we'll solve by normal method, that is the equation. Whatever is not given, we of course have to assume the variables for it. So we don't know the old wage of those 40 laborers. So let's say the old wage or average wage, old average wage is X. So 40 laborers whose average is X, their sum is going to be 40 times of X, average into number of people. Average into number of people. Now, out of these new total, 2 people are living whose wages are 950 and 1050. So from this old sum, you have to subtract 950 and 1050 to obtain the new sum. But 2 new people are joining as well. So the new people, these 2 newcomers, let's say their average is Y. So if there are 2 people whose average is Y, their sum is going to be 2Y because there are 2 people. So sum is average into number of people. So these 2 go, but these 2 come. So their sum has to be added in the group. And that gets the new sum of the entire group, which has again 40 laborers because 2 laborers left, 2 laborers join in. So remaining the new number of people still be 40. So the new sum divided by the new number of people gives us the new average. And new average is decrease in the average wage by rupees 25. That means if the old average was X, the new average is X minus 20. So new sum divided by the new number of people gives us the new average. You can say there are 2 variables, but only 1 equation. How can we solve? Of course, we can solve because when the 40 get multiplied with X, that 40x is going to get cancelled. So just make the equation quickly. 40x, this is going to be minus 2000 plus 2y is equal to 40 into x, 40x minus 40 into 25, that is 1000. This 40x gets cancelled and the value of 2y will be 1000. So y is going to be 500. That means the average of these newcomers is going to be 500. And that is what it asked. Now, if you think the chocolate theory way here, you just have to understand there are 40 laborers and from them you are taking away 950 and 1050. That means total 2000. So it's as if you are taking away 2000 chocolates from them. But everybody is ultimately losing only 25 because earlier also there were 40 laborers. New number also 40 laborers. So from the 40 people, you are taking out 2000, but resultantly everybody is only giving away 25. That means 40 people, each is giving away 25. So resultantly, they are giving away only 1,000. You took out 2,000, but resultantly, they are giving away only 1,000. That means the 1,000 entered into the system as well. 1,000 entered as well. So if two people are coming in with the sum as 1,000, that means their average is going to be sum divided by the number of people, that is 5. This 1,000, these two people are given. So 1,000 by 2, their average should be 5. So this is also you can do, but the better way will always be the basics. Let's see one more. The average of 15 observations was found to be 30. Later, it was observed that 41 was wrongly taken as 14 and 23 as 32. Also, observation 27 and 46 were not included. So if there are 15 observations whose average was 30, so we can say the sum was 15 into 30. That is 450. But in that 450 sum, there are mistakes. 41 was wrongly taken as 40. That means 41 should have been taken, but 14 was taken. And 23 should have been taken, but 32 was taken. So in this sum, there are wrongly entered 14 and 32. So we'll have to remove the wrong ones and we have to re-enter the correct ones. So from this sum, we have to subtract 14 and 32. And we have to add 41 and 23. So this is now the correct sum of those 15 observations. But these two observations were missing as well. So we have to add these two as well. So we'll have to add 27 and 46. So this is the correct sum of now 42 observations, because 2 observations are added as well. Sorry, 17 observations. Because earlier there were 15 observations. We are adding 2 more observations. So this is the new sum of 17 observations. So new sum divided by the new number of people should give us the new average. So just solve this. Should be easy. 32 and 14 gets cancelled with 46. This is 50 and 41, 91. So that gets us 541 upon 17. 17 threes are 51. 31 means 17 ones are, and should be 8 times. So 31.8, option number 2. Easy? Let's see one more. Now, the questions that we have seen so far, they belong to the category of plain average, because from a group, either one person was leaving, 2 persons were leaving or joining in. But here, when 2 different groups with their own average, if they are combined, and then we talk about their resultant average, that type of questions we call as the weighted average question. And in the next sessions, we'll see how that is connected with the allegation. Allegation and weighted average are the 2 sides of the same coin. They are basically the same thing, but we use them under different questions, different type of the question. So let's see quickly what is allegation and what is the weighted average in this question. So first of all, if you read the question, it said in a class of 200 students, the average weight of boys is 36 and average weight of girls is 44 if the ratio of boys to girls is 3:5. So if you try to divide 200 into boys and girls as 3:5, so you can say 3 plus 5 being 8, 3 plus 5 is 8, and it is getting 25 times of 8. This will also get 25 times. This will also get 25 times. That means there are 75 boys and 125 girls. Basically, you just have to divide the number in the said ratio, 3:5. Now, afterwards, there are 75 boys whose average is 36. So their total will be 75 into 36. And there are 125 girls whose average is 44. So the total will be 125 into 44. So this is the total weight of boys. This is the total weight of girls. And when you add this, this is the total weight of class. The total weight of class divided by the total people in the class. So total people in the class means boys plus girls. So 75 plus 200. Sorry, 75 plus 125. Boys plus girls. That should be the average weight of class. Average weight of whole class. So if you try to solve this, you realize that in this term, in this term, in this term, and in this term, 25 is common. So we can just cancel out everywhere with 25. So it becomes 3 times, it becomes 5 times, it becomes 3 times, it becomes 5 times. And then you realize all the hard work that we did to find out the 75 and 125 is gone, because ultimately they come down to 3, 5, 3, 5. So it's as if 3 boys with the average weight 36, 5 girls with the average weight 44, and divided by the total number of students, that is 3 plus 5. So that tells us that in the weighted average type of question, weighted average means, as I said, when 2 groups getting their own average to form the one complete group, and when we calculate the newly formed average of the newly formed group, that questions, they come under the weighted average question. So all such questions, you have to realize the actual number does not matter. You don't have to take the actual numbers. You just stick with the ratio component. You can say there are 3 boys and 5 girls. So 3 boys whose average is 36, the total will be 3 into 36, plus 5 girls whose average is 44. So the total will be 5 into 44. And divided by the total number of students in the class is 8. So that becomes 108 plus 220, that is 328 divided by the 8. So average weight of entire class is going to be 41. Now, why this is so important? First of all, these type of questions are not only about the average of 2 groups. Same question can be framed under different topics. For example, if I say I invested 3 parts of my money at 36% rate of interest in simple interest, and 5 parts of money at 44% rate of interest, what is the resultant rate of interest I'm getting? So the same question can look like the SICI question, whereas if you consider if you understand the concepts of weighted average, you realize that also question can be solved with the same approach like this. Ultimately, the answer is going to be 41% in that case. 3 parts of the material you sold with 36% profit. 5 parts of your material you sold with 44% profit. What is your resultant percent profit? That question also comes down to the same process, and you can get the answer as 41% will be the resultant profit percent. So question may look like SICI question may look like time speed distance question, profit and loss question, but ultimately all such question will come under the weighted average or allegation. We'll see that later classes. So that is why this is very, very important, friends. So you have to understand, first of all, how to identify the type of the question, whether it is a weighted average question or not. So 2 groups, or the groups can be any. They are getting their own rates. Rates in this context is the average weight. They can be profit percent. They can be simple interest, rate of interest. They can be speed. So of course, you'll require practice for that to understand what are different types of the rates are. So 2 groups in quantities getting their own rates, and you have to calculate the resultant rate. For in this question, you have to calculate the resultant average. So whenever you have to calculate the resultant average, you can just apply the same concept there also. That means the actual number don't matter. What matters is the ratio in which they are getting in. Okay, of course, if you do sufficient practice, you then only start to understand the different type of the question that can be formed within the weighted average. But for now, we'll see the another method too. Now, this is the question where if you understand the chocolate theory, can be solved orally very, very easy. Because now we have seen that the actual number does not matter. What matters is the ratio. So you can now shorten your question to, there are 3 boys whose average is 36 and there are 5 girls whose average is 44. So average means what? We already saw. Average means the equal distribution. So you can just imagine there are 3 boys. They are having 36 chocolates each. So 36, 36, 36 chocolates the boys are having. And there are 44. There are 5 girls whose average is 44. That means they are having 44 chocolates each. And now they get the chocolates to you, and you have to distribute the chocolates equally because you have to calculate the average of now entire class. So this time you don't have to pick a figure of your own choice. You can just take the one of these two, which should be lesser. If you pick the lesser one, the question becomes very, very easy. So you can just say to them, keep 36 chocolates with yourself. That means 36 becomes our base. Every student has at least 36 chocolates. So they can keep 36 chocolates in their pocket already. So the boys are now left with any chocolate. So boys won't give extra chocolates to you, but each girl, if she keeps 36 chocolates in her pocket, she will have 8 extra chocolates. So 8 extra chocolates, there are 5 girls. So these many extra chocolates will be collected from those girls. And those extra chocolates, if you divide between again the same 8 people, so 8 into 5, 40 upon 8 if you do, there are 5 chocolates extra. You can again redistribute to those. Everybody already had 36. Plus this 5. Everybody is now going to have 41 chocolates. And hence the 41 is the average. I hope you understood this. Let's see one more question. Now this is the question. There are 40 boys in the class and 35 girls. Average weight of the boys is 100 and average weight of girls is 50. Then find the approximate average weight of the class. So as we already discussed, there are 40 boys and 35 girls. So actual number does not matter. You can just take the ratio. So 5 8s are 5 7s are. You can say there are 8 boys and 7 girls. The average weight of boys is 100 and average weight of girls is 50. So what is the average weight of whole class? You can say there are 8 people with average 100, means their sum is 8 into 100. Plus there are 7 girls with average 50. Their total is going to be 7 into 50. And that should be divided by the total number of people in the class, which you don't have to take these figures now because we are shortening it down to 8 and 7. So total people in the class will be 15. So 800 plus 350, that is 1150 divided by 50. Try solving it. It is going to be 77 approximately. And if you try to solve this by chocolate theory, you have to realize there are 8 boys and 7 girls. Boys are getting 100 chocolates each. Girls are getting 50 chocolates each. This time the lesser number is 50. So you can say everybody is going to get at least 50 chocolates. Upon this, one boy gets 50 chocolate extra and such there are 8 boys. So we are going to have 50 into 8, 400 chocolates extra. And those chocolates will be distributed again between these many boys plus girls, that is 15. So 50-50 you already give away. This 400 divided by 15, extra you will be giving to them. So if you try to solve this, is 5 is 3 times, 5 is 10 times. 80 upon 3 is approximately 27. So 50 you already give away. 27 you are going to give again. So everybody will now have 77 and hence 77 is the average. So this is how you can solve with the help of chocolate theory or by making equation. But don't use the actual figure, that unnecessarily will lengthen your process. Now this is about the weighted average part of it. Same question can be asked under different language. So we'll see the same question again. We know the answer to this question was 41. We already seen that. Now, if I reframe the question, if I say the average weight of boys is 36 kg and average weight of girls is 44 kg and average weight of entire class is 41 kg. What is the ratio between boys and girls? What is the ratio between boys and girls? That means this part, if you ask, that time, if you use chocolate theory or weighted average, that will be unnecessarily lengthy. At that time, you have to use the method which is called allegation. What is the allegation? In allegation, you have to realize the resultant should be given. So on one side, you write the average of the first group. On second side, you write the average of the second group. And in the center, you write the average of the result. That is the entire group. This is boys average, this is girls average. All you have to do is take the difference between these two. So 44 minus 41, 3, you write it here. And take the difference between these two. The difference is 5. Ratio between these two differences is going to give us the ratio between boys and girls. So boys to girls is going to be 3:5 as it was given in this question. So if resultant is asked, then we use the chocolate theory or weighted average. Like in this question, in the actual question, resultant is asked. What is the average weight of whole class is asked. And that is why we use the chocolate theory or the weighted average concept there. But if the average weight is given and anything else is asked, for in this case, for example, the ratio was asked. So if this is given, then we use the allegation because we know what to take the difference with. Then we use the allegation. If that is asked, then we use the chocolate theory or weighted average. So I hope you understood which method to use when, whereas they are the same thing. Now let's see the question on this concept. It says the average weight of all boys and all girls in the class is 35 to 22.5. If the average weight of all class, so resultant is given here. So you know when the resultant is given, we use the allegation. On first side, we write the average of the first group. So boys average is 35. On the second side, we write the average of the second group, that is the girls, which is 22.5. And in the center, we write the resultant average of the entire class. And then we take the difference. This difference is 7.5. This difference is 35 minus 30, which is 5. And if you take the ratio now, it is going to be 2.5 is 3 times, 2.5 is 2 times. The ratio here is 3:2. That tells you what should be the ratio between boys and girls. So the option where the boys and girls possess the ratio 3:2 between them has to be the answer. Because they are asking what is the possible number. So possible number is the one where the boys and girls are in the ratio 3:2. So answer is going to be 30 and 20 because they are in the ratio 3:2. Easy? Now this is a general question. A general question. This type of question you can solve by making equation. Average weight of girls in the class is 36. Average weight of boys in the same class is 38. Girls are twice the number of boys. So if I say number of boys are X, then number of girls are going to be twice of it. That means 2x. So the girls have the average weight as 36. So the total weight of girls is going to be 2x into 36. Number of girls into the average is going to be the sum of the girls. And sum of the boys is going to be x boys with the average 38. So number of boys into the average is going to be the sum of the boys. It says the difference between the weights of boys and girls is this 1020. This is the total weight of girls, 72x. This is the total weight of boys, 38x. The difference here is 34x, which is given as 1020. So just solve this. X is going to become 30. That means the number of boys are 30 in number. So general question you can solve with the help of equation as well. Okay, let's see one challenging last question. In a class with a certain number of students, if teacher weighing 78 kg is added, then average weight of class is increased by 2 kg. If one more teacher weighing 66 kg is added, the average weight of class increased by 3.5 kg over the original average. What is the original weight of the class? So number of students also we don't know. The original average also we don't know. So let's say the number of students is X and their average initially was Y. So what happening here is their original sum will be number of students into average, that is X into Y. Into that original sum, now one teacher is added. So student sum plus teacher sum divided by the new number of people. Now what is the new number of people? Earlier there were X students, one teacher is added. So X plus 1 is the new number of people. So new total divided by the new number of people should give us the new average. It says the average increased by 2. So if old average was Y, the new average will be Y plus 2. So you realize that when you solve this, XY will get cancelled. So don't worry. It is going to stay the simple equation only. Just little calculation part. XY plus 78 should be equal to XY plus 2X plus Y plus 2. XY will get cancelled. And that shorts us down to 2X plus Y is equal to 76. Second equation. Now, in this sum, one more teacher with 66 kg is added. So the new sum is going to be XY plus 78 plus 66. And number of people will be X plus 2 now, because there are X plus 2 teachers. That gives us the new average, which is 3.5 kg over the original average. Original average was Y. New average is Y plus 3.5. And then you can solve XY plus 144 should be equal to XY plus 2Y plus 3.5X plus 7. XY gets cancelled. That gets us the equation 2Y plus 3.5X is equal to 137. Now we have to eliminate X or Y. So we can just multiply this with 2 and the equation becomes 4X plus 2Y is equal to 76 into 2, 152. And then we can subtract it from this. So that will get cancelled. 4X minus 3.5 is 0.5X will be equal to 15. That gets us X is equal to 30. So if X is 30, you can put it here. Y is going to be 16. They are asking what was the original weight of the class. Original weight means number of students into their average. So number of students means X into the average was 16. 16 into 30 is 480. So their original sum was 480. Yeah, of course, a little lengthy question. In exam, they rarely ask this type of question, but you should know how to make the equations for such questions as well. So we'll do some more practice about this once we are done with mixtures and alligation. So together we'll have practice questions for this topic. But meanwhile, you keep practicing for this. Thank you for watching this video. Bye-bye. Have a good day.